Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are testing Palmetto State Armory's new line of 6.5 Grendel ammo. This was just released last week. I ordered it as soon as it was released and it arrived yesterday. We're going to test it today and see how it does. They've got three different SKUs right now that they're offering. A 123 grain FMJ, a 123 grain open tip match, and then in their Saber line, they've got the Saber Blade 123 grain black tip. Now, all three of these advertise a velocity of 25-25. They are all using AAC head-stamped brass. And according to Palmetto State Armory, the bullets are made by Hornady. Now, we're going to take a closer look at each one of them in a few minutes here. But to me, they seem like regular Hornady bullets that, just in the case of the blade here, has a black colored tip instead of Hornady's typical red. We are going to be testing these today in two different rifles. First, I've got a Howa Mini, and in a little bit we'll be shooting all three of these through my AR that's also chambered in 6.5 Grendel. This is the first video I'll be shooting on my new range. I do have a target set up at 100 yards. You are going to hear chickens crowing, I'm sure, throughout the video, as they like to do every time I start talking out here. But let's get started with the video. I am very excited to be shooting for the first time at a 100-yard range on my own property. It's a goal I've had for a long time, and I'm really thankful to have this space. So I'm going to quit yakking, shoot the groups with the Howa, and then we'll take a closer look at the ammunition itself in between shooting the bolt action and the AR. One thing I should mention before we get started here is that both the OTM and the FMJ options cost about 70 cents a round before shipping and tax, and the Saber Blade black tip is about 75 cents a round right now. Those are extremely good values for 6.5 Grendel ammo, in my opinion. That is, if they shoot well. We will be getting velocity data with a Garmin Zero chronograph here. Bit of a tight fit there, but we're going to shoot it anyway. It's very possible that my chamber is a little bit dirty. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. So we're starting there on the bottom row, left-hand side of the paper, with the 123 grain FMJ. I'll mention, because somebody is bound to ask, again, this is a Howa Model 1500 mini action with a 20-inch heavy barrel. I've got a rugged razor suppressor on the end that we will be moving over to the AR when we shoot those groups. The scope on top is a 4-16 by 42 or 44, 42. Vortex Diamondback HP. It's an okay hunting scope. It's probably going to get replaced at some point. I do have a Jefferson Outdoors bottom metal in here with a hinged floor plate. These rifles should be pretty close to sighted in. My hold point is going to be the center of the circles because both of these are set up, I think, for a dead-on hunting type 0. Okay, got a velocity of 24-26. So about 100 feet per second slower than the box says. I am just guessing that they're basing the box velocity on a 24-inch barrel. These are the first few shots through both of these barrels for quite a while, so there's a possibility we may need a bit of a warm-up. .44.
How far away is that?
100 yards.
Oh,
Okay, hadn't had this particular issue with the Garmin chronograph before. It only picked up 4 of the shots because it started asking me if I wanted to do a software update on the 5th shot, and I didn't notice it until after I had fired. Interesting. Well, got an average of 24.35, an extreme spread of 18.1, and a standard deviation of 6.6. It's over 4 shots, so that's not the best indicator, but that's really not too bad. The group does not look great. I'd say 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, but that is the full metal jacket ammunition. Brass, of course, looks just fine. We'll give the barrel a second to cool down, and we'll move on to the 123 grain precision open tip match. All right, on to the 123 grain open tip match. This is the AAC Precision. I ended up only getting 3 shots on the chronograph. I don't know if I accidentally deleted one or what happened. There were 4 that originally picked up, and then when it appeared on my phone, there was only 3, and only 3 in the history. So I'm not sure what happened there. I don't think I accidentally deleted a shot, but who knows? I may have to update that software and see if they've smoothed that out. Oh, that last shot just had to go high. I am getting a decent amount of mirage off my barrel and suppressor nut. Suppressor cover helps with some of the mirage, but not all of it. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. The velocities were extremely consistent, like extremely consistent. We had an average of 24.08, so just a little bit slower on that one, an extreme spread of 18, and a standard deviation of 6. This seems to be like good ammo. And that might be a bit of a rush judgment, but it really seems decent. I'm gonna let the barrel cool off for another several minutes, and we'll shoot the Saber Blade black tip. Because of that last shot, I may have to shoot another group with this ammo. That was looking really, really good. Some of those clouds have cleared off, and it's gotten really bright, but all right, maybe it's been updated in the software. I really wish there were a way to set the chronograph, to have one button on here to start a new session with the previous settings. That would be nice. It's a lot of button presses to get back to where we need to be. Time for the last group with the Howa. This is the Saber Blade black tip. We do have kind of the new flattish point that Hornady is doing, their drag variability reduction technique. So I'm just gonna guess that this is I'm almost thinking this is an SST, but I'm not 100% sure. We may have to take it out and verify that. If the AR shoots this absolutely terribly, we'll know it's the SST. I don't think I had the best natural point of aim on that shot. I'm gonna try to hold my technique together a little better. I have not shot off a bench since last deer season. That was better. Not exactly sure where the shot went. Might have just opened up that last hole. We're around 24.20. And that was 5 shots. Interesting. So far, it's looking like the OTM is shooting the best. Those last 2 shots jumped up by 10 feet per second each shot. So we had an extreme spread, of 27 feet per second on that one. So that was the biggest, and a standard deviation of 10, average of 24.30. Here you can see what each one of these look like. So the full metal jacket, see there we've got a fairly rounded tipped FMJ with a cantilever. For the OTM, we've got a pointed tipped, and probably hard to see the point there, but you can probably see the angle on the tip there. It's So we've got a pointed open tip match bullet there on the Precision, and on the Saber, got the black tipped cantilevered bullet there. The OTM may have a cantilever. If it's there, the bullet is seated to where I can't see it, but it might be there. If you're watching this on Rumble, you saw the suppressor coming on and off. Not a big deal, but just letting you guys know that that stuff is over there. I'm going to be single feeding for these groups. Just give it the best chance that I can. Try to eliminate those variables. It's been a long time since I shot an AR off the bench. I've taken quite a bit of time here dry firing and getting things so that the crosshairs do not move when the trigger breaks, and that is more difficult on an AR. This CMC cartridge trigger, I'm not a huge fan of. I may end up replacing it at some point. This is my 20-inch AR-15 with a chambered in 6.5 Grendel. I've got a PRS light buttstock on the back, Vortex Diamondback Tactical 4-16 by 44 on the top. It does seem like I get a bit better field of view with this, although it does have significantly worse chromatic aberration to my eye than the Diamondback HP. It's got a little different reticle too. It's actually easier to shoot on target with, although this mount I could use to be a little bit higher. I've got the riser set all the way in its lowest position, and it feels like I can't quite get down low enough comfortably, keeping in line and all that. So yeah, there's that. Let's get to shooting. This one is probably the furthest from zeroed, but I don't know that for a fact. Oh, that was faster, 24.55. Tiny amount of recoil. Ooh, getting a little gas in the eye. And I think my ejection pattern's that way. I probably need to turn the gas down a little bit. All right, not a terrible group from the FMJ there. This gun has preferred 120 grain bullets for the most part in the past, so I'm not expecting it to group the greatest with these 123s, but that's not bad. Velocity is a little bit faster. Make sure these ammo boxes are out of the sun here. Got an average of 24.57, extreme spread of 15, and a standard deviation of 5. That is excellent. Like, really, really good. We'll let the barrel cool for a few minutes and we'll move on to the OTM. Pardon the lack of video here. My microphone screwed up and I missed all of the audio for these next two groups. The first one here is a repeat group with the 123 grain FMJ load. I dialed the scope down 1.6 MOA just so that I would get it to hit in a different spot. Then for the next group, I dialed the scope back up 1.5 MOA and fired with the 123 grain OTM. All right, time for the Saber Blade Black Tip. This does gas me in the face quite a bit. Velocity average was 24.53, extreme spread of 33.9, standard deviation of 12.9. So that's kind of following along with what we saw in the Howa, that it wasn't quite as consistent as the other types of ammo on velocity, if my memory serves me. All right, so that was just one group with each, and I guess I took 2 groups with the FMJ through the AR, which did really well. I want to go through and shoot a couple more groups. I want to shoot the OTM through both guns again, and I want to shoot the Saber through the Howa. That'll give us a little better of a picture than just one group. I'm gonna magazine feed this time. We'll turn the chronograph off because I don't need more data there. Okay, 5 shots from the magazine with the AR. And the 123 grain OTM. Feeling like my trigger didn't reset. I've had that problem with this trigger before. Yeah, really respectable group from what I can see. Again, 4 real close and 1 outside. I'm gonna switch the suppressor onto the Howa. I know this scope only has a 2mm smaller objective bell, but because of that 1-inch tube versus the 30mm tube on the other, it has a significantly smaller apparent field of view. I get 4 rounds in this magazine, so I will go ahead and load the other one, and we'll shoot a group here. Stock shape is not great for shooting off the bench, but it'll work. Yeah, not a great group, not horrible either. And last group with the black tip. And a pretty nice, actually a really nice group with that black tip to finish things off out of the Howa. First group there with the black tip in the Howa was just over 1 inch. That second one I think is gonna be significantly smaller. Probably like a 0.8. I'm gonna throw some calipers on all of these groups and we'll wrap things up a little bit. All right, folks, and let's go over these groups. There's nothing crazy spectacular here, but I think overall we did pretty well. The AR overall did not shoot great. The Howa was decent. The first group with the Howa was 1.1 inches. That's this group right here. That was with the full metal jacket. Then we moved to the OTM. That was 1.16 inches, and then those 4 shots went into 0.49. And then the Saber black tip stuff, 1.2 inches. With the AR, the first group of FMJs, which is these 5 shots here, not that one, is 1.6 inches. I didn't bother to do 4 shots on there because there would be a couple different ways to get 1.6 on there. The next with the OTMs was pretty horrible. This shot flew clear over here for no reason, really. So the whole group was 2.2 inches. These best 4 into 1.4. Then this group with the Saber was not great. 2.3 inches and then 4 into 1.5. Because there was some promise here, I decided to reshoot a couple of them. I shot the FMJs again with the AR and got this group that's just barely over 1 inch, 1.03, and that's really pretty good. If you've seen any of my previous videos with 6.5 Grendel, you'll know that this AR does not like 123 grain bullets. It really prefers the 120s, especially from Hornady. And it can shoot pretty dang tiny groups with 120s and the right powder, but it doesn't like the 123s. And we saw that here. This was a pretty good one, but it was the best group that we had with the AR. And that was the second group with the FMJ. Also in the AR, I reshot the OTMs, and we got a 1.2, which is up there with the better groups that I was getting hand loading with 123 ELDs and AMAXs in the past. So that's not too bad. I held it together just a little bit better there. I also reshot a couple of groups with the Howa. Again, that precision stuff got about 1.5 inches, and then I shot another group with the black tips and got that lovely little 0.7 inch group right there, and I was very pleased with that. I probably should have gone back and shot the Saber with the AR as well, but I know that it's probably not going to consistently group well with 123 grain bullets, so I didn't bother, and that is not the fault of the ammunition at all. So, in conclusion, I'm really glad that there is a lower cost option for 6.5 Grendel ammo on the market. I would really like to find out what the bullet is in the Saber black tip. If that is an expanding bullet, that could be a really good off-the-shelf load for hunting with the 6.5 Grendel, and it'd be one that you could afford to practice with if their prices don't go up. Now, currently, the stuff that's available does say that it's daily deals, and I know this is a limited run of ammo, so if they produce it again in the future, I'm guessing it'll be a little bit higher cost. But for now, I think I'm gonna go order another couple hundred rounds of this stuff to have on hand. I don't know exactly which one I'm going to get yet. I'll probably get a couple boxes of the FMJs and then maybe a couple hundred rounds of the Saber. That's my plan right now. But yeah, I am impressed with it for factory ammo. The velocity consistencies were really pretty good, again, for factory ammo, and it seems like pretty high quality stuff. I would like to know who makes the brass, where that comes from. I'm kind of assuming it's Hornady brass, but I don't know. Maybe Palmetto's making their own brass. And I would like to know what bullet that is in the Saber black tip. If I had some ballistics gel, I would shoot it into gel and see what happens there, and that would tell more of the story. I think I said earlier I thought it might be an SST. I kind of doubt it's the SST, but it has a cannelure, which is one of the only tipped bullets that I know of that Hornady makes with a cannelure. Maybe it's an ELDM that has a cannelure on it. I'm really not sure there, but hopefully we'll get some information on that in the future. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you'll join us again in the very near future for more videos here on the range. Thanks again for watching, and y'all have a good one.